Good and evil is merely just a perception that humans have created based off their judgment to point at somebody or behavior and say, well, that is good, that is evil. I do know there must be some types of good and evil that are legitimate, extreme cases of purposely doing harm somebody for enjoyment, or good is purposely doing good to better humanity and people, doing good deeds. Those are two obvious things, but most things are mainly just evolution's way of having different characteristics to survive. The most important things to life, first of all, is number one, continuity of life, and then the advancement, evolvement of life. And you cannot evolve life if you don't have continuity. If something destroys life, life does not survive, then you cannot advance it. So your number one priority is going to be continuity of life. And to reach this continuity, life has come with many different methods of ensuring this continuity. One of them is having duplicates. You have duplicate people, you reproduce babies or your virus, and you multiply yourself, or you have cells in your body, they duplicate, and because if one gets destroyed somehow, there's another one that carry on the information. So you need multiple variations of people, different personality types, different traits, because if one of them is under a certain circumstance, given one personality trait, they may live, or physical trait, another physical trait or personality trait, they may die or survive. And in nature, you have many different scenarios that could happen over an infinite amount of time, and depending on that scenario, one trait will survive and one will not, or maybe they both will, or they both won't, and another one will. So for example, if you have a person that is greedy, well, we say being greedy is bad because we don't like greedy. But let's say you had a scenario where some extreme circumstance in the world where food was scarce and you had some crazy climate situation going on and civilization is ended, and under those circumstances, let's say somebody that was very kind, may be taken advantage of and may die, be exposed and killed, cannibalized, have all the stuff stolen, whatever. But a person that is greedy may be able to survive by taking and hiding and deceiving, and let's say that person survives. Well, that person has ensured the continuity of life under that situation, but then that person survives, they reproduce, have children, and some of their children may be different than them. Could be greedy, or they could be a person that shares, and then one day you may have a scenario where somebody that's greedy does not survive, and somebody that shares is the one that survives. They share, and people admire them, respect them, and they help them, and under those conditions you cannot live with other people's help in that scenario, and they guarantee the continuity of life. Life does not care whether we think it's a good or bad trait. It just the main goal is continuity of life. So what about another trait? And let's say, for an example, if you look at plants, if you look at animals, they're very much like people. If you look at a tree, let's say an apple tree, it's pretty peaceful. It doesn't have any thorns. It's not going to poison you or put a sticker in you, thorn inside of you, and it's just going to give you an apple, and you're going to eat the apple. And then you're going to fertilize its seeds. You're going to go to the bathroom and, fertilize its seeds, and it's going to grow somewhere else, and it's going to help the tree. It's a mutual exchange. It gives you food, it gives you energy, and then you do it a favor by helping it reproduce. And people have that quality. People do the same thing. They help you, you help them. It's a mutual exchange. But in nature, you also have something like a weed. It takes from the environment. It doesn't give. It just destroys everything in its path. You have people like that too. You have people that do not give. They take everything and want everything for themselves. And, or let's say you have a mix between the two. Let's say you have a blackberry bush. It's kind of like a weed. It grows really fast, but it gives fruit. You have to go through some thorns, and you may get hurt, may scratch yourself getting the fruit. It's kind of like, here, I'm giving you something, take it, spread my seeds, I'm doing you a favor, but don't mess with me, because if you try to eat my leaves or eat me, you're going to get stuck by my thorns. And you got people that are like that too. And we don't say, you can't say, well, that's a bad plant, or that's a good plant, and that plant deserves this, and that plant does not deserve that. Because you have scenarios where one plant may live and one may die based off certain scenarios and climate, weather, and one scenario the apple tree may live, and one scenario the blackberry bush or the weed may live. But what's important is the continuity of life, that it continues, because if you only had just what we think is good, the apple trees, and they all died, continuity of life ends, well then, that's it, it's over. So you need all different types of traits, personalities, what we consider good or bad. We all need each other to ensure the continuity of life. And then as you extrapolate time, you become more advanced. You can see, by extrapolating human life, we become smarter, we're living longer, so eventually you're going to get people that are immortal. We're going to become very smart. That's pretty much the definition of becoming a god. And then many of these previous traits won't even be needed to continue continuity of life, because we would have achieved it through evolution and or technology. So you won't need to be greedy, or you won't need to be something else we consider a bad trait, but it's something that's necessary and happens by default to achieve immortality and become super intelligent. And then once you become the super intelligent god, and then that's a whole new scenario of where you go from there. That'll be another video. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe, and you have a great day. Goodbye.